4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, you know what it is. It's your boy Guess Who. You now tapped into Streetnerdz Radio, the #1 station in the streets right now. We got a special interview. Go ahead and introduce yourself for the people who ain't too familiar.
It's your girl, T-Cherie, baby. If you don't know, please say the baby. All right, T-Cherie, baby. If you're looking at my music, you can find me on all platforms at TeeCherie.
So let's go ahead and get started from the beginning for the people who ain't too familiar with you, maybe. Where are you from and how'd you grow up?
Originally, I was born in the Midwest, St. Louis, Missouri. By the time I was 5 or 6, I grew up in Southern California, right in the outskirts of LA, West Covina. Shout out to the Cove. And then from there, I started moving around. By the time I was like 17, 18, I moved to the East Coast for a little bit and then came back to Vegas. It was close to home.
What was childhood like for you?
Man, crazy. Like, low-key, like I didn't have my mom and my dad. My grandmother raised me. And then she was like a hardcore, like Jehovah's Witness. So, and then like for a little bit, I was like homeschooled. So I was socially awkward by the time I went back to school. But like, I was weird and I had fun with it. So it was still pretty chill. School was cool.
Moving from different places and growing up, you felt without your parents. What was the biggest lesson that you learned? Or that you could look back and that you could be like, well, I'm glad I went through this because this is what I learned from that.
That, you know, your parents are like big ass kids too. They learning as they go. And, you know, they didn't always have the best mentors and they were just as messed up in a different form. So we can't have as high expectations for them to have it, like for them to have it all perfect and 100% right. So yeah, that's what I would say as my big list, what I've learned.
Out of all the places you did live though, where did you have the best experience of life you feel like as a child?
Absolutely, like most of my childhood was in California, so I identify as a Californian for sure. Like that's throughout me, but yeah, like where I grew up, all my bases, all my fundamentals came from there. So I'm a Cali girl at heart.
Being from where you're from, how does that show up in your everyday? Like, what do you feel like is different from other places that you've been? Your traits that you be like, this is where I know this is from where I'm from. Like, this is where I get this from.
Man, just once I had to leave Cali to actually leave Cali, like even when you leave Cali, you don't leave Cali. Like our fundamentals, our way of life is so like embedded in you. Our sense of loyalty, family, you know, what we represent, our passion in the California culture is there, but we're also very carefree. We party, you know what I'm saying? We have a lot of fun. We got a lot of hustles. We believe in having a lot of hustles. When I went to other parts of the world, like the East Coast, they just more solid on like grinding out one specific thing. But like just certain things about our culture is a little different, but that's everybody's culture. You know, down south was a little different. My dad stays down there. Midwest is a bit different. Shout out to Sexy Weird. You feel me? So like, yeah, being where you're from, like it is what it is.
What is the biggest misconception about where you're from that you hear when you go out from your travels or different places you done lived?
Man, I'm not gonna lie, West Coast dudes got a bad rep. Like, I feel bad for y'all. Like, West Coast dudes be having a bad rep. Like, you know, but you know, we got our blue faces and YGs. And so like, you know, that's our identity. But for real, I really feel like some of the real good dudes on the West Coast should be highlighted a little bit more. So that I really feel like that's a big misconception.
Bringing up them dudes and feeling like they need to be highlighted. Can you drop us a couple names of people that you feel like need to be highlighted?
Who need a little shine? I'm not gonna lie, YG, I feel, you know, AV, Compton, they do a lot for the community. They've been around for a long time and I feel like they don't get enough flowers. You know what I'm saying? Like Nipsey Hussle, RP. Bitch should have had big flowers. Like he was destined to like really take off. So just, you know, like those West Coast dudes that kept their culture and turned it positive definitely need to be highlighted more. And of course, like your Snoop Dogg's and the OGs and all that, yeah.
So when did music start for you? When did that bug get into your life?
Man, it had to be from when I was like in my blood, like for sure. Like My sister said my mom said that I like, even though because we were so strict, I couldn't hear like mainstream music. I could only listen to like religious Christian, like, classical music is what it is. But it was just started at an early age. Like I just knew like I wanted to sing. I knew that I liked music. I knew I liked words. And so it came very natural.
When is there a moment that you could think about in your life where you was like, this is the moment that I could reflect and look back on, and then this was the moment that made me be like, I think I want to pursue this?
The crazy part, it was never like I needed to pursue it. It was always like, I know I'm going to do this because I really love the way this makes me feel. And then like, there was multiple moments. There's multiple moments I could refer to. Like I remember my mom used to like this movie with Whitney Houston in it. I didn't even know who she was, but I loved her voice. So I would mimic, and I think I had to be like 4 or 5 at the time. I would go in the bathroom with a hairbrush and try to sing this song that I heard off this movie. Because mind you, I'm not allowed to listen to regular music. You know what I'm saying? So for me to hold on to things like that let me know that music was a big part of me. So yeah. First
time in the studio. What was your first time in the studio like? And what song was it?
First time in the studio, R.I.P. It was my best friend. He actually got murdered out here in Las Vegas. Shout out to Head Knocker, Chasman. But yeah, my first time in the studio, I had to be like 14 years old. We rich kids, like living in the suburbs. He was mad rich, like $1 million houses mama and them stay in. And he was just like, I was the awkward girl that freestyle, you know what I'm saying, during the lunch period. And he was like, man, you dope. You should think about recording. I'm building a studio. And like, I didn't know what that was. He had came over, of course, he had the computer. The studio setup was in the closet. And he was like, man, just go. And I did. And just because he believed in me, I started believing myself. So shout out to him. R.I.P. to him. But,
man, rest in peace to him. I'm sorry for that loss too.
Yeah.
What was the song about? Can you remember that?
It's usually, like, my early days was always about some gangster shit. so I'm pretty sure it's about some gangster shit. I don't remember. There is a song that I made shortly after that I still remember. It was from, like, a local producer, young kid at the time. His name was Richard. I think his name was Richard White. If I could find dude, too, like, I'm going to give you your flowers because I still got the song. I still got the song on the CD and everything. We recorded in a big-ass studio. I was young as fuck, like, didn't have any experience with nothing, but people believed in me, so I just rocked with it. So shout out to him too. Yeah. So
studio essentials.
Ooh.
What are studio absolute musts that you gotta have to make sure a good session?
Hold on, make sure you gotta take notes, all right? Because coming from the vet, you feel me? You definitely gotta have your vibes set. So if you need your snacks, if you need your drinks, you feel me? You need to have all that ready to go. Your smoke, you already know how that goes. You definitely need to have good company with you, y'all. Definitely good company, because you can't have no bad company while you drink. You could, but you don't want bad company. It depends on what vibe you're going for. So if you are in a mood, try to flow with that. Make sure you have all your essentials so you don't need to go nowhere, and lock in. That's it. That's all.
Has there ever been a session where you've been like, oh yeah, this is not gonna go the way I wanted to tonight? Like a bad one?
Absolutely. Multiple. Yeah. And it's so crazy though, I end up taking away a lot of stuff from even my bad sessions though. So yeah, it'd be bad ones.
Biggest lesson you learned from a bad session?
Speak up. If I don't like it, I don't like it. Don't leave unhappy and not being vocal about it or seeing there's something that can be done to make the change, because at the end of the day, this is your art and you invest in yourself. So you definitely want something that you could be proud of and happy with all through and through. Yeah, biggest lesson.
Finding that out, is it hard for you to be vulnerable in your music, or do you